Welcome to the doghouse. Hope you all having a great day. I know I am, as usual. Just thought I'd get on here for a while. This is just BS in here. Yeah, most of it, I should say, will be true. But sometimes you just have to get on and have nothing to say really as one particular subject. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole or anything else. It's just out here, the old man having a good time. And then, damn Mike. But there's things that I'd like to hit on though. And this is for older people out there. I know there's getting to be more and more. If you want some good entertainment, enjoyment, and your opinion made, is very, very okay for older people to do this. I wish more older people would get on here and just have fun. And there is a big difference. Most older people are on here not to make money, but there is some, but a lot of them are out here just to have fun, enjoy life, sit back and enjoy what's going around us. Because when you enjoy life, things are much, much better. We don't always have to get mad and upset or anything else. Sometimes we need to sit back. Things that do happen on here, and I take it as a badge of honor, really. When you get called old man and grandpa, whatever, they don't realize you're getting older. I do have uh, two or three on here, and I think it's three. They called me their YouTube dad, which is fine. I don't mind that. And that ain't them insulting me at all. I got a couple on here that gets on here and says, "Hi, Uncle Darwin." And I got some on here that's a couple on here that don't talk on here because they're only on here because I'm on here. And they want to hear what their uncle has to say. What do you guys think about older people getting on here and enjoying themselves? And why is it that not all of them, because I got a number of younger people that love listening to what I say, but how many of you out there think older people need to get on here, enjoy life? Yeah, going out and doing stuff you really enjoy in life. But if you're sitting back in the house for whatever reason, why not get on? Enjoy what you're doing, enjoy what you're going to do, and have fun. I wish more young people would be on here and look at people's whole stories and get a view on what is what. And you can learn from younger people too if you're older, and vice versa. We can't go into this thing where we can't learn from others, regardless of age. And sometimes, the older you get, things as a parent that may have made you cringe. Hi, John. You think's funny now. Hi, how you doing, Road King? How many times have we gone out and embarrassed our parents as kids? Like this is just BS in here, but this has really happened. My older brother worked at Sears way back when here in town. They used to have, and I wasn't very old, they used to have toilets set out. Well, I embarrassed my parents. I had to go to the bathroom and I used the toilet. They were so embarrassed. They grabbed me and got me out of the store really fast. Hey, it was there. I didn't go on the floor. I guess I didn't understand the concept there. Yeah, moms like to embarrass their boys, teenage boys. I think all five of mom's boys got embarrassed at one time or another. One thing and you couldn't get away with it now. It was more of making sure you was doing right, but it really embarrassed you more than getting a spanking. You did something in the store you wouldn't. My mom would spank you right there. She didn't take you out nowhere. You got a not beat, you got a spanking. And the embarrassment of that outweighed the spanking. Now, the bathroom thing, toilet in the middle of the showroom, I didn't get spanking for it, but talk about a couple of guys getting him, or mom and dad getting embarrassed. They sure did. I don't understand why they wanted me to go on the floor. The toilet's a toilet. And when you get older, you do look at things a little bit different than when you're younger. You have fun when you're well, I have fun now and fun when I was young, but the things you get to do to grandkids or nieces and nephews or whatever you're around, the funny things you can convince them of. That's great. Oh, yeah, the curls in the hair. Mom never did that because it was a long ways away. But mom was one place we went was a one-room schoolhouse. Yeah, a one-room schoolhouse, and it did exist. My mom was the cook there. You think I could get away with anything? Or my brothers or sisters? It just never happened. Even other kids, you do something wrong and out of their mouth, I'm gonna go tell your mom. Not fair having your mom as a cook in elementary school. Never works out. At least never works out for the kids. Yeah, the curls that would have been in the bathrobe. Yeah, that would be a teenager would really, really sink their head into things and go, "Mom, you're embarrassing me." I've known, I've known parents to do that, drive their kids to school and like that when we went to Arco, which was about 50 miles away. But it's funny. The looks on their it wouldn't have been funny if it happened to me, but I have seen that. And the looks on the and it bothered the guys more than the girls. The looks on their face when they got dropped off. I'm sure. Oh, John, not a lot happening here. Just out here spreading the bullshit, enjoying the day and enjoying the cold. Not really, the cold part anyway. It's 22 degrees here at the moment, and it sucks. I shouldn't complain because this time of year it's usually in the high teens to low teens. Then usually we get several days below zero. But so far we've avoided that this year, which I am glad of. Yeah, and like I've said before, and it used to be funny. I'd go out, wander through the snow, shooting jackrabbits. Way, way too many jackrabbits. The funny part, though, oh yeah, I was reading that, John, of the house code of your wife. And there's another one out there that's kind of funny too. I think it's Maine or somewhere like that. I don't have my paper here, but if your wife needs your written permission to go out with her false teeth. I wonder who made that law. Over the years, it is funny some of the stupid laws that are on the books. Yeah, Road King, it is. But, these are all laws before we was probably even around. But you scratch your head at some of them. Like in New York, if you're single, you can't go parachuting on Sunday. I guess if you're married, it's okay. And they got a law in New York, I think I've mentioned it, of thumbing. It's illegal. That's where you stick your thumb in your nose and wiggle your four fingers at people. Thumbing is illegal. And, like in Idaho, where I'm from, cannibalism isn't allowed. Oh, yeah, some of these are just one of the good ones, though, that got. Oh, and there's another one out there. If you, some state, I don't remember what it was. I remember reading it, but if you go to bed with your shoes on, and if you go to sleep in bed with your shoes on, it is illegal. Hell, I did that. I wouldn't have to worry about the law. My wife would shoot me. Yeah, good thing we don't live in California. And now this has happened. My brother-in-law, he was LA County, and a lot of that time he was a probation officer. And when they kicked this one guy out that had a bar, he come down and took it over. Well, and he was always complaining about California, and everybody got a laugh at him because as much as he hated California when he first come here, he wanted to implement what was in California that he hated. Then he finally caught on and people harassed him enough about it. He realized that what he was doing. And California does have a lot of weird laws. And Idaho does too, but not as many as some states. Like the merry-go-round, you can't ride on it on Sunday. Cannibalism's illegal. Now that one I don't understand. It's illegal everywhere. Why would you have it on the books? You're going to eat somebody? It's it's outrageous some of the stuff we see on the laws. California's always hurting themselves more than they hurt anybody else. Look at the deal they put in the law in the past year or so about the semi trucks and how old they can be and how what they can do. And in so many years, they want everybody in California to have an electric car. And they're going to try to ban the gas vehicles, which will never happen. But that's laws they put in recently. Hi, Demon Cat. But you look at all them laws, even the modern ones, some of them you scratch your head on. And it goes back to a lot of people think that law only applies to other people and not them, even the ones that write them. We know people on here like that too, but laws only apply to certain people, and that's just how it is. I had my lungs going earlier today. I put out a podcast on 10 Commandments by Deem, or given the our 10 Commandments in the way of somebody else would say it. Yeah, I wouldn't want an electric car. Yeah, I put a podcast out called 10 Commandments for the Demon or Dominion. Yeah, I can't even talk now. Minions. 10 Commandments for the Minions. I'm hollering and screaming on it. Yeah, I don't get it. You know, if you want an electric car, you want an electric car, but you can't force people to do it. Who in the hell can go out and buy an electric car? The warranty goes up, and you have to buy a better battery for it. That makes no sense. Yeah, I got a niece that her husband works for Tesla in Texas. They really don't say much about it, but that's where he works. You know, I don't get it with the electric batteries. I can see why you want to, even though we have enough oil on this earth, especially in the United States, we don't need that. But if you want to do alternative, that's fine. But I don't understand it at all. But if a person wants to do it, and the problem we have, even with like gas and stuff here now, is the regulations. A lot of the money people think, oh, they make billions, which they do, but they put a lot of that back. They have to compensate for all the regulations the government puts on them. And that's just not oil companies, that's all of us. And one place they come in, OSHA come in, they didn't get rid of, they got rid of, but not fined. They had two doors that opened the wrong direction. And they got rolled up for them. So, you know, regulations does hurt. Regulations can be good, but a lot of regulations are just bogus and lame. I bet you all of us at some time or another run across the regulation that you're sitting there scratching your head. That's like in fire extinguisher, and I did that for a lot of years on restaurant hood systems. Well, when you do a fire extinguisher and you do a 12-year pressure test on them, you dump all the powder out, break it down, dump the powder out, and you put it in. It's like 175, 195 on the temperature or the pressure, but you're putting pressure of over 200 and some pounds of pressure in something that only needs 100 and some in pounds because I've been away from a little bit. But that made no sense to me. You take that fire extinguisher and do that with it. Oh, and here's another thing that is interesting, and I never knew it until I started doing fire extinguishers as cell service and all that, is the ABC and versus a BC fire extinguisher. An ABC fire extinguisher is for everything. People with campers and that, some of them don't, but a lot of them put a BC in it. Now, A is for wood. I guarantee you, and we've shown this, a BC start a fire, spray it, and it can reignite. But A is for wood. If any of you or know anybody that has campers, if they have a BC fire extinguisher, they need to be getting rid of it and going with the ABC. Now people say, well, it's just to get out of the camper. Well, most people have campfires, and that BC ain't going to help you. You need to put out a fire real quick. And another thing, and they all do it. I know this is an engineer deal on them. Why in a camper, if you're in the camper and your extinguishers by the door, how in the hell are you going to get out? If you're in the bedroom and you got to get out, you defeated the purpose of the fire extinguishing being there. And we used to do handicapped homes. They kept their own kids in their homes, and the government give them money. Well, they had to have two fire extinguishers, kitchen and the front room. And I had one guy tell me he had three. He says, "Now, Darwin, think about it. If there was a fire in my front room, kitchen, and I'm in the bedroom. Why do I want to run clear in there, maybe through a fire, to grab the extinguisher? Don't it make more sense to have it in the bedroom? And he was right, but that's not on the regulations. And regulations on fire extinguishers are a little strange at times. That's like from the ground to the top of the fire extinguisher can't be more than 5 foot 6 inches. A lot of people put them more, but that's what the law is on that. But getting back to other things besides playing with fire, we come on here, especially older. I think sometimes a person gets more annoyed at things that come out when you're older. You sit there, scratch your head, or whatever you want to do, but you sit there and go, really? Some of these people that call me old man, and after I get through laughing, I'll just sit there, no clue to life. Somehow these guys think they're going to be here and not get older. Interesting concept some people have. You know, and I've met some good people on here. Don't get me wrong. There's people and I love being on here, like Super Dave, and mostly my stuff's shorts. I'm getting in this a little bit, but nothing like my shorts. Because I get 200 and some to 1,000 views off of them a day. Don't add up our time, but it does get the point across I'm trying to make. So, you get on here like Super Dave, he puts a good effort into what he is doing, and he's out there trying and doing it. And he was willing to help people, even though he, like me, couldn't be there in certain things, but was there mentally for them. And there's been others, Ray Bone Crusher, standing up for what's wrong and giving logical explanations. He's very good at that. And he's very precise in how he tells them. And that's really, really good. And more people need to listen to them too. They really do. You know, Super Dave's kind of young and has different ideas at times, but he's going forward, fighting things in his life, and he needs the support of everybody. He's a good man. So is Ray. Then you got people like Two Lees that are out there throwing, and they have two different things. They have their opinions, which all of us do, which is good, but throwing whole documents out there instead of parts of them. When you throw parts of them out there, you're not really putting out the real truth. But when you're out there and putting out the whole truth, you see some things that are wrong. And this is a little different, but in some ways the same. Sometimes we do that in lives ourselves, everybody. Hey, old man. I love being an old man. Except my wife keeps accusing me, John, of being a dirty old man. I don't know if I believe her or not. I did tell her, or not her, I had this friend I used to work with, and she's in her 70s. One day in Walmart, I said, I'm in here to chase women. And she goes, you're married. You shouldn't be chasing women. I said, no, you are getting me wrong. All these old ladies in here, I'm not chasing them because I might catch them. Them younger ones, I can get on the cart and chase after them, and I won't catch them because I can't run fast. So the object is chase women, not catch. And she started laughing, and she says, my husband that died, if he was your age, or my age, he would have said the exact same thing. You got to have fun when you're old. You need to go out and have all the fun in the world. It's a third. We have a coming when we're a kid, coming when we're working, and when we get old, we got another one coming. We can either go back to childhood or teenager. Who in the hell cares? It's up to us. I'm not a rich man, and my place is paid for, but you know, uh, two Social Security checks, my wife and mine, and she gets a Teamster's retirement. It's not a lot, but it does help. Wasn't too impressed with the COLA increase this year. It was 20 some dollars. That don't make a cost of living adjustment very good. But whether the one thing I like a lot more than this, but one thing I wish and I hope, and it's going to take both parties to do, Trump wanting to take all the taxes away from people that are on Social Security and that's good. That really is. And some holler about taking the taxes away on tips and for waitresses and they should. What they put up with on a constant basis with people, they really deserve to be compensated because most employers that on restaurants don't pay them a lot. You have to wind up, I think in Idaho it's two something, $2 and something an hour. Makes it hard to make a living when you're doing that. So yeah, I'd like to see that done too. I know a lot of this stuff they on both sides, I'm not taking a side here. Both sides like to lie and make themselves look really good. Then when it comes to passing stuff, they'll do the opposite. Then they'll come back out and say, "Well, we tried." It's a good excuse, I guess. And that's been going on since before I was even born. But one thing, another thing I'm going to kind of touch on here is when you're kind to other people will be kind to you. All of us go through hell in our lives, and all of us do stupid ass stuff growing up and after we're growing up. But good people, when needed help, they need help. And all of us at some point in our lives have had to have help, and we forget that. And a lot of it is people get money and then they decide, we don't need to do nothing. The people that usually help are the uh, are ones with less money. Now I know some that have a lot of money here and does help. That's like in Idaho Falls here. The fireworks is 100% paid for by a corporation here. He lives here. He's made a lot of money. I bet it's close to $1 million because it is considered the biggest fireworks west of the Mississippi. And that's money he's made and donated. And thing with him, yeah, when you're working and you got things you have to do and you can't talk to everybody, but he puts out money and he don't say this person is limited, this person can't do that. It's everybody from around the United States or whoever wants to show up can for the fireworks. The city has to maintain the roads and do all that stuff, but the actual money put out is by this guy. And his last name's Vandersloot, and he owns Malaluka here in town. Big millions and millions of dollars this guy makes, but he I join the joiners, but that's out of his pocket. And everybody criticizes him. Well, he does this or he does that. He don't like this group. That's a bunch of crap. Otherwise, he don't do that in his hiring practices. And when he does the 4th of July, there is no limitations on anybody. And I mean, the guy makes a lot of money and he puts it in the right place and he don't take his money and go after individuals. And a good thing about this guy, his kids start at the bottom. They don't start in management or anything like that. They're out there working on the floor like everybody else. And that's the way business should run. Believe me, we were poor. Really what saved us, because like I said, I got a half brother and a half sister. There's mom had 10 kids. The other two are my dad's first wife. One thing we never lacked for food because we was on a ranch. We grew up on ranches. I don't know how it would have affected us if we lived in town, but where we didn't live in town, it helped. Yeah, and we had people around. It wasn't really a necessity, but it was appreciated. Some people had older kids like than me, and they'd grow it out of their clothes, and they just give them to me, or they give them my brother, or they give them to other people. They had a thing out there where I grew up. If somebody else could use them clothes, you didn't throw them away. You let because there was no Salvation Army or anything like that around here. You give them to other people to use, and that's just the way it was. And that did help. It wasn't 100% necessary, but it did help. Because I used to wear cowboy shirts all the time, Western shirts. We call them cowboy shirts as a kid. But and the bus driver knew it, and another one, their kids would grow out of them. They'd give them to me. Says they'd go, "We know you like these type of shirts. You might as well use them." And yeah, I mean, poverty was always around the corner as far as not having everything we wanted. That But you know what we always had was love from our parents and love from our family. No, we never starved. We sometimes had stuff I didn't like, but we never starved. Have a beef once in a while, a pork or whatever. Mostly, and it was abundant supply. The first place, not so much. The second place after third grade was the guy supplied it with mutton. It's just an older sheep. And I hate the taste of mutton. It's so gross. I like it, like the mutton chops. I love them when they're warm. But when you take them out of the fridge and redo them, they are so greasy. Roasts were the same way. Okay, I still didn't like it, but I'd eat it. But after it set and you tried it a second time, I couldn't do it. But we always had food. And our mom actually, well, most even before I was in the teens, but mostly after that, she kind of didn't keep a real good eye on us because she knew what we was doing. If we wanted something and there was a little bit left, like me, I don't like. I hate spaghetti. I love the sauce, so I'd get some meat and and put the sauce on it. My mom would say, "Okay, there it is." There wouldn't be enough left for a whole meal for everybody, so you go cook it. You want it, you go cook it. And to this day, even though I'm married, I do 95%. Now there's a reason for it. I do 95% of the cooking ever since we've been married because I love to cook. I grew up cooking, so it was fine. It's been fine for me. And I say that to people I work with. My husband won't cook nothing, waits for me to get home to cook. That don't happen around here. But, you think about Jimmy, like you said, when you're poor, you're poor. But, when you look back as a kid, did we really think we was poor? Because we really never realized that. And like I said, we never starved. We always had food. We never had a government assistance to live on either. But sometimes you'd be a short on something, and as a kid, you didn't know it. You just went out and did what you usually did. You didn't even think about it. When you get older, it's like, boy, we were poor, or I wish we could have had this. We always had Christmas. We always had, like I said, food on the table, and we had something money can't buy, which is love for everyone. And that makes a big difference. I was 19 before I ever lived in town. Now, a couple of times I'd go like in town, stay with my older sisters or brothers or whatever. One time, my sister in Salt Lake at the time wanted me to come spend the summer there. So I'm like, okay, it's either do that or work on the ranch. And so I got a job down there for the summer. It was called Wasatch Lawns. It's a graveyard, and they put me in to help them make the cement vaults. They made all their vaults except the specialty ones. Then they'd order them in. And I had a job opportunity after I graduated to go back there because the guy who was over that part was going to retire. And that job to running that end was offered to me after I graduated. There was no way I wanted to go back to Salt Lake. I went there for, you know, my sister. And another time I spent 3 or 4 months because I went there and they were doing these great big concrete beams. And I went down there like 3 months to do them, but I come back to Idaho after that. That was younger. I can never do that stuff now. John needs to teach me how to be younger. And my wife keeps telling me that I'm a dirty old man, but she hit me the other night and said, "You're an asshole." All I did was there was something on the news when I walked in the house, and I said, "I don't care what they do on the deportation. I will stand up for you. I will not let them take you back to Rexburg," which is about 24 miles away. And it isn't, it's not a foreign country. She thought I was an asshole to insinuate that place was not in the United States. I don't know why. And you guys, I want to ask you something. Why ain't none of you adopting me to get me out of this winter weather? Y'all can do that. I will say okay and do it. I'm not going to protest. I don't eat a lot, you know, and I take a bath once every other month. What you got to lose? And I won't eat the dog food. I may throw rocks at people that may be ignorant, but that's okay. I won't blame me for doing it. It's being somebody else's fault. So Why can't you adopt me? You know, I obviously have other obligations because of my wife and that here. I'd probably do that. I'd probably go somewhere where there wasn't snow or a lot of snow. Yeah, I grew up around it because we was right by the mountains. We was about a mile and a half away from the mouth of the mountains. But I would really, really probably consider doing that. I would be very open into where. I wouldn't even care, if it's in the 40s or something. To me, that's fine. The wind here this time of year, when the wind comes up through now and the end of March, it just cuts through you so bad here. And middle to the end of this month, that stuff will start on a constant basis. I've lived here all my life, so I guess, in one way it's okay, but I'd really like to go somewhere if I had the opportunity where it was warm or decent. I've looked at spots when I was younger, never did it because of different things in Arizona, Nevada,